What's going on, everybody? How you doing? You doing well? My name is Steve. This is Just the News. It's your little quick blurb into what is going on in this country in terms of news and current events and all that stuff. Of course, this episode is sponsored by Spartan Armor Systems, which you can see up here. If you go to SpartanArmorSystems.com and use code YEET, you'll get 10% off of your body armor order. Some of the coolest stuff that you could possibly imagine out there. All right, so we have a ton of news to try to get into, and I'm going to try to do it relatively quick because I'm moving. I got a ton of stuff to do. But we have a bunch of news stories that I have to talk about because they're nuts. Obviously, you saw the title of this video. The first one I'm going to talk about is Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's in the news again. She's always in the news, but again, today is no different. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has been chastised this morning by members of the press, Leader McCarthy, Democrats, Republicans, and everything for a comment that she made, which said vaccinated employees get the vaccination logo just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star. Vaccine passports and mask mandates create discrimination against unvaxxed people who trust their immune system to a virus that is 99% survivable. Again, horrible choice of words, but is she wrong? We're going to dive into it a little bit before. And it's kind of interesting because there's one article on NBC News where it says, Greene provided no evidence to support her claim that vaccine passports and mask mandates lead to discrimination against people who are unvaccinated. Her claim that COVID-19 is 99% survivable also gives the impression that the disease is not lethal more than 9. And no, it doesn't. It says it's 99% survivable. This is the problem. This is the whole reason why we're creating Citizen Stringer is because the way they do it. For one, Greene provided no evidence to support her claim that vaccine passports and mask mandates lead to discrimination against people who are unvaccinated. Well, what about, wasn't there a woman down here in Florida? I think it's happened to a couple of people where they lost custody of their children because they refused to wear masks. There's been people that have been arrested for not wearing masks in private businesses, which again, I understand it's a private business. They have the right to require people to wear masks. We just covered last night on The Reckoning, well, the past 2 nights on The Reckoning, people that were excused from school board meetings for not wearing masks. How people can say that there isn't sort of discrimination, with masks, that's one thing. And here's the funnier part. So Leader McCarthy, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy released a following statement this morning saying Marjorie is wrong in her intentional decision to compare the horrors of the Holocaust with wearing masks is appalling. The Holocaust is the greatest atrocity committed in history, and the fact that needs to be stated today is deeply troubling. Well, Kevin McCarthy, that's not what she said. And again, I'll read what she said. And she said, vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star. It has nothing to do with masks, actually. The only thing they're saying is that now, if you've been vaccinated, according to one Food Lion or whatever the original article was referencing, you will get some sort of sticker that says, hey, I'm vaccinated, and that will allow you to work in their place. And NBC News is also saying there's no evidence to support the claim of vaccine. There's literally colleges that are not allowing students to go back in session in the fall unless they could prove they're vaccinated. You're getting segregated now at baseball games if you're not vaccinated, or if you prove that you're vaccinated, you can go and you could sit in this nice section, and if not, you have to sit in the high up and the crappy sections. This is going on all over the place. How they could say it's not discrimination or anything, I simply just don't understand. And this is a push, it's a rhino push really from Republicans, specifically McCarthy, for condemning the language. Now, do I think it was a poor taste? Absolutely. Especially because we have so much anti-Semitism going on in our country right now. A lot of it happens to be coming from the Democrats with what's going on between Israel and Palestine. But again, the way we work things here at PT News is we report things accurately. We don't put our, obviously we're opinionated, but when you're saying facts, we have facts. NBC News said she didn't provide any evidence. Well, why does she need to provide evidence? That's the job of the media, is to say, well, there have been numerous attacks by people that are not wearing masks and haven't been vaccinated. Or even worse, here's the new ones where people are vaccinated, choose not to wear a mask, and people are still accosting them in public parks. It happened in New York City, where they're being accosted because they're not wearing a mask, even though they're vaccinated. Case in point, the teacher from, where was it? Wisconsin. We played the video a couple of weeks ago of the teacher that was yelling at the vaccinated youth and telling him he's not special and all that. And he's like, I'm vaccinated. And she's like, I don't care if you're vaccinated. You still need to wear a mask. That, my friends, is discrimination. Because if you allow people not to wear masks by proving they're vaccinated, how can you go and require everyone, which is a HIPAA violation anyway? It just doesn't make any sense. It's kind of silly. But I figured I'd talk about it because, mainstream media is all going to just push their own agenda on it and not report the truth. Anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene released a statement this morning via Twitter saying the media and Democrats and everyone feeding into this is allowing them to hide the truth, which is disguising anti-Semitism within the Democrat Party. At a time when socialist Democrats and their jihad squad are supporting terrorist Hamas, their supporters are attacking Jewish people on the streets of America, which we know is true. New York City has had attacks. And they've charged people with hate crimes. Los Angeles has had attacks. They've charged people with hate crimes. I believe other states have as well, where Jewish people seem to be getting targeted. It's never more important to stand up against forced vaccinations and mask mandates than the left is using to discriminate against Americans who refuse to comply, she writes. Their attempts to shame, ostracize, and brand Americans who choose not to get vaccinated or wear a mask are reminiscent of the great tyrants of history who did the very same to those who would not comply. And everyone feeding into it is allowing them to hide the truth, which is disgusting anti-Semitism within the Democratic Party. The Democrats are a party of division, hate, critical race theory, pure racism, discrimination, totalitarianism, socialism, globalism, gender destruction, BDS, defunding our police, and anti-fun BLM terrorists. I'm sorry, some of my words make people uncomfortable, but this is what the American left is all about, and they are America last in every single way, she writes. I don't necessarily disagree with her. I think it was poor taste in saying, I don't know if she's wrong. It was bad taste, but whatever. These are facts. If you're requiring people to wear something, what is different than branding someone or marking them your property or saying that, okay, this person's been vaccinated, so they're allowed to do stuff, but this person hasn't? What is the difference? We're going on this whole social justice champion where you don't focus people on, or I don't know. I don't even know what to say, because some companies are doing this as well. There's companies that are telling people, their employees, that they're not allowed to return to the office unless they've been vaccinated. How is that not discrimination? What if one person doesn't want to get vaccinated? Simple as that. What if they don't want to do it? What if they have reasons for not doing it? They don't believe in all this stuff, or whatever the case may be. But apparently you can't connect anything together. You can't say, well, this is reminiscent of these tyrants that used to do this kind of stuff in the past, or people that put brands on people or anything like that, because that's essentially what it is. I can tell you, if I walk into a store and I don't happen to have a mask and someone says, am I vaccinated? I'm going to say, none of your gosh darn business. And if someone says, well, you can't come in here without your mask, I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. That's your right as a business owner to refuse service to whoever you want. I don't believe in double standards. That's my personal belief on it. But again, my personal preference in terms of mask wearing is it doesn't happen. Not for me. My kids still wear them because they have to go to school this year, but next year they don't even have to. But yeah, my personal belief is the second that Kamala Harris said, choice is simple, either wear a mask or either get vaccinated or wear a mask forever. I said, good luck with that. Biden said it and I just dismissed it as one of his stupid Bidenisms. But when Kamala Harris said it, I said, okay, good luck with that. Challenge accepted. Many of you guys may not know the Black Lives Matter flag is flying over the U.S. Embassy in Spain currently, and it's flying all over the world right now at U.S. embassies and consulates across the country based on a directive that was leaked yesterday. We wrote about it yesterday. I'm not going to talk too much about it. But the significance of today is a 1-year anniversary of the death of George Floyd. For anyone that doesn't know what George Floyd or how he died or anything, well, I don't know what rock you've been living under. But the interesting thing about that is everyone knows about George Floyd Square. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. George Floyd Square is the area, the 4 block, or the block radius of where he was killed at the hands of a police officer, where he was killed outside of Cup Foods. So that area has been fortified and restricted access for the past year. Antifa is down there. They have armed guards that protect it. People have died as a result of the fact that it's all blocked off. Police can't go in there without a tremendous amount of backup. Ambulances can't service medical aid to anybody that is shot in that area. But yet they go. There was a local news reported this morning that was flying a drone over the area. They took the drone and threatened that and I believe that was a Star Tribune reporter. It was reported on social media. And then here's the thing: there's dozens, probably hundreds of people down there right now celebrating the life of George Floyd. They just had a shooting in broad daylight. They just had a shooting. At least 2 people are shot. That is breaking. We haven't even written an article on it. But they just had a shooting in George Floyd Square in this restricted space, and the people, reporters were there. Matter of fact, let me see if I still have this up, because you can hear a reporter was giving his commentary. Listen.
Residents in Minnesota and Minneapolis to observe 9 minutes and 29 seconds of silence, representing the 9 minutes and 29 seconds that Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck. But, hold on.
That was live. He was given a live broadcast on the air. That's on Twitter. I just retweeted it. But it likely it's going to be deleted anyway. But that's on Twitter. That was a Star Tribune photojournalist was there and confirmed the gunshots because he was giving a live broadcast speaking about it when people opened fire. At least 2 people were wounded. They were transported to the hospital in a dark-colored Suburban. And I guess some of the businesses down there they've been able to find bullet wounds down there too. But it's kind of interesting because I wonder what the response is in Minneapolis now, because you have other people there. You have press. You have other people. That was a broad daylight shooting. Again, not going to get a lot of publicity because everyone right now is just talking about. I mean, George Floyd's family was just on CNN, but they have George Floyd's name written, and then there's a halo over the O in his name. I have a question. His family received $29 million. Did the woman who had the gun to her belly, did that woman receive any of that money? The pregnant woman that he robbed 5 years earlier. I'm just asking. Again, it was wrong. That Derek Chauvin, committed a heinous crime there. Guilty of murder? Probably not. Is he guilty of something? Should he serve jail time? Absolutely. Because I base my, determination of what's real based on fact, not, my opinion. But this is so nutty. What's going on in this country is nutty. So yeah, 2 gunshot victims showed up to Abbott Hospital being transferred, probably related to the shots fired at the Peaceful Healing Space, #NoGoZone, George Floyd Square, day 364 of the hostage situation. That's what the local residents there, Crime Watch Minneapolis on Twitter is posting, which is pretty interesting, huh? I mean, just shootings all over the place and nobody cares. But here's the thing: is this influence is very big. The push for all this stuff happening all over the time. Yeah. Someone just said, I guess now, keep the time, because now major news is going to report it. You'll probably see it on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, the gunshots that were reported. Because I just started getting notifications from other people that don't typically watch the show, but they're like, hey, gunshots have been reported at George Floyd Square. Yeah, I know. We're already reporting on it because we are awesome. Anyway, here's another interesting story. Imran Ali, who is the prosecutor that is going to, or was the prosecutor that was going to prosecute Kim Potter. She's the officer that was charged in the Duante Wright case for manslaughter. She's the one, you guys may have seen the video. He was running from police. She thought she pulled the taser, clear as day. Thought she pulled the taser, pulled her firearm. Don't know how you do it after being a police officer for how long? 25 years. But she ended up firing a solo shot, dropped her weapon, freaked out. She's been charged with manslaughter, which everyone on the ground there, the protesters, are super unhappy with. This took place in Brooklyn Center, right outside of Minneapolis. So the prosecutor there, the person that was assigned to do it, actually just resigned. We know from earlier, I think it was late last week, we wrote an article saying how the state has taken over the prosecution, likely because they're going to enhance the charges, potentially charge her with murder. Well, now the assistant criminal division chief for the prosecution's office, Imran Ali, has resigned. And his statement is pretty interesting. He said, I hereby resign from my position at the Washington County's Attorney's Office. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Washington County for the last 10 years. When you recruited me to work with you, I was honored, humbled, and eager to facilitate long-term vision goals for this office. You have done a remarkable job on transforming the culture of this office and protecting the citizens of our country and our country along the way. I leave my position knowing that I serve with honor, dignity, equality in the pursuit of justice. This is where it gets interesting. The last several weeks have been difficult for me and my family. The vitriol from some and the infusion of partisan politics by many has made my job difficult to pursue justice. I pray that our state heals and the extreme partisan platforms dissipate. We must return to thoughtful discourse that unites, not impulsive, irrational talking points that divide. Until then, there will be no justice served. This guy was not just a prosecutor. I don't know his politics, don't care. He was a highly touted prosecutor, a highly touted prosecutor based on all reports. He said, listen, the politics and trying to charge someone is outrageous, which is, it's crazy. And oh man, it's frustrating, and I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with her. It's going to be crazy. Here's another story too that's crazy, and it kind of goes to the same thing with bail reform and prosecutors' offices doing all those things. So there was a woman yesterday, and this is a sad story, so I apologize for everybody, but a Texas mom was shot dead in front of her children while taking them to school. A 28-year-old San Antonio woman was shot dead in front of her 3 children as she got ready to drive them to school, according to local reporting. The victim was found dead behind the wheel of her car around 7:15 a.m. yesterday on the northeast side of town. She had been loading up her kids, aged 2, 6, and 10, into the car outside an apartment complex on Harlow Drive when she was ambushed. A 30-year-old suspected shooter, who investigators are relatively certain was a woman's estranged husband, was found at a home nearby and is being questioned by police and is in custody. The estranged husband, who was out on bond at the time of the shooting, had violated a protective order multiple times. Now, this is interesting because this is a common occurrence. People are killing people. They're getting out on bond. Sometimes they don't even pay bond, and they're getting out on bond and they're killing people. Another good example, and nobody died, luckily, in Texas. The guy was the guy with the lion. Remember, that was a viral story everyone reported on. There's a guy that had a lion in his house, and an off-duty cop almost killed the lion right in the front yard. Well, it turns out that guy was on bail for murder. And he was out, and he had tigers and lions and bears. Oh my. Yeah, see, I added the oh my there. But this bail reform problem, I wonder, it would be really interesting to look at how many murders are committed by repeat offenders in the United States and how many of those people were out on bail. I know there was a study in San Diego a couple of years ago where I believe it was 20% of the murders committed in that city were committed by people that were under some form of judicial restraint, whether it meant they were on bail, probation, parole, anything like that, house arrest. 20% of the murders committed in a 5-year period in San Diego, that is nutty. That is nutty. I don't know. I just said nutty, but whatever. Here's also another one. You guys may remember this because we talked about this quite a bit, actually. Arlington, Virginia. Last summer, D.C. police officers shot and killed a 18-year-old Dion K. in southeast D.C. Remember, we did cover this live because there were protests outside of the police department. There were the private security officers that were out there protesting with everybody, and I thought that was really weird because private security, and you have armed security guards in D.C., and then you have special police officers, and I recognized one of the guys because I'm actually in a special police officer Facebook group for the DC metro area, and I recognized one of the guys on the video as being a chief of one of these special police companies, and I thought it was weird that he was out there protesting against police. Probably should have been a story, but I forgot about it. Forgot his name now. Anyway, last year, you may remember, police attempted to stop a vehicle. Everyone fled the vehicle. They saw a gun in the suspect's hand, and they killed him. Originally, everyone protested. They were attacking the D.C. Police Department, the little local station there, saying that they shot an unarmed guy, that there was no gun. Body camera footage eventually came out, showed that the kid did have a gun, and he was running away from the officers. Well, A new audit of that shooting says that shooting was justified, but also says the officers involved acted recklessly and without a plan. Now, I want to remind everybody of the way policing works, and I'm not a police officer, but I want to remind everybody how a police officer works. Or a police officer works. Usually they see a crime being committed and they attempt to stop you. Normal people just get out and say, oh, what did I do wrong? Sorry, well, I'll take my ticket, or yes, I'll be under arrest. The idiots then resist arrest and try to run while fleeing with guns, drugs, trying to eat them. You know, they die because they're eating drugs and all this other stuff. And a very small percentage of those cases result in a shooting. Could be where the suspect shoots a police officer. Otherwise, could be shots at the police officer, or the police officer shoots him, or in this case, the guy clearly has a gun, looks to be raising it in body cam footage, so they shoot him. Well, the report, which was prepared by the Office of the D.C. Auditor by the Bromwich Group, was released Tuesday, and it says officers squandered any opportunity to de-escalate the situation, and the officer who shot and killed Kay, Officer Alexander Alvarez, unnecessarily placed himself in the situation. Police officers are not supposed to do their job anymore. I mean, we watched that video. I watched that video, completely. But apparently now, if someone flees with a gun, you're not allowed to pursue them. Just can't do it anymore. It's just not permitted. Anyway, ODCA asked the Bromwich Group to conduct a review of four 2018 to 2019 involved officer fatalities last summer, and then added 2 2020 cases, including Kay's. The new report on Kay's death states that the 7-district crime suppression team observed Mr. K and others displaying handguns on Instagram Live while they were streaming a live feed. They initiated a search of the neighborhood and found Mr. K and others in a parking lot where their shooting occurred. They were in a black Dodge Caliber. As soon as the leader of the CRT team vehicle turned onto the driveway of the parking lot, the man who had been in the rear passenger seat opened the door and sprinted away from the car. Almost simultaneously, the MPD officers in the cruiser got out of their vehicle. Officer Alvarez was the first officer out of the cruiser, and he immediately began to pursue the fleeing man. Officer Alvarez then drew his gun and ran past the Dodge, yelling, "Don't move!" But the man he had been pursuing had too much of a head start to be caught. Alvarez slowed down and holstered his service weapon. Almost simultaneously, Mr. K emerged from the rear passenger side of the Dodge and began running in the same direction of Officer Alvarez. Officer Alvarez then turned towards Mr. K, who had a pistol in his right hand. Officer Alvarez drew his weapon and fired once from approximately 8 feet away from Mr. K. The pistol Mr. K had been holding flew into the air and Mr. K fell to the ground. This was a sequence of events from the time Officer Alvarez got out of the police vehicle until the time Mr. K fell to the ground. It took approximately 10 seconds. And only 1 second elapsed from the time Officer Alvarez began to turn towards Mr. K and the time Officer Alvarez shot Mr. K. Body camera footage is available online. What do you expect someone to do? A guy's running with a gun in your direction, approximately 8 feet away from you. You are a police officer. You already give an order for them to stop, and so you fire. That's what you do. Otherwise, you become the victim. I mean, that's literally it's almost like that's what people want to happen. It's almost like what these consultants want to happen. They want the police officers to be the victim. And we've heard it from an extreme. Remember that shooting that took place in Pennsylvania? It wasn't Philly, but it was somewhere where they the police officer walked up to the house because they had a report of a guy that was mentally challenged or having, threatening people and all this stuff. And it turns out this guy had stabbed 4 people, including a little kid just 4 years earlier. Anyway, police officers get to the house. The guy charges at him with a knife, and the police officer kills him. Again, caught on body camera footage. The people that were protesting said the officer's job there is not to stop someone from trying to kill them. It's to let themselves be killed in order to protect the person that's trying to kill them. What? Like, that's how backcrap crazy these people are. A lot of them, and this is just another clear-cut example. You have a police officer that is pursuing someone with a gun. Body camera footage shows the gun in his hand. Body camera footage shows him turning around, and within 8 seconds, he fires and kills him. That's what happens when you run at an officer with a gun. And you know what? There's no difference of being white and black or anything like that, because I'm not going to test it, but I can tell you 100% certainty, if I'm running at a police officer with a gun, and they've already told me to stop, and I don't stop, guess what's going to happen? The same thing will happen to me that happened to that kid. Doesn't matter about race. It doesn't matter about color of skin or anything. It's kind of, common sense. But we don't believe in common sense. Here's a little bit about the stock market so far today. This is new, right? The U.S. stocks wiped out earlier gains and turned negative again on Tuesday the U.S. stocks wiped out earlier gains and turned negative gains on... It's written wrong. Anyway, the SP 500 traded at 2% lower, dragged down by the energy sector. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite dipped 2%. Or 0.2%. The Dow Jones Industrial traded 60 points lower. Big tech shares like Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Alphabet all erased an earlier advance, whatever. I can't even read. Who cares? Our stock market crypto is coming back up. Now it's at 38,000 per bit, or whatever you say, Bitcoin, after falling below 32 yesterday or Sunday. Tesla, the big shareholder of Bitcoin, fell 1.5%. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase gained 4%, with the shares getting a boost from a JP Morgan buy call. I know nothing about stock markets anymore, to be honest. I've got money in the stock market. I stopped paying attention to it. I stopped looking because I realized that and to be honest, I make money when I don't look at it. I don't make money when I pay attention to it. So that's what I did. I pretty much took everything out of the regular market and put it in IRAs, and our kids, 501, whatever the hell they are, 502, plans and all that stuff. But that's about it for the news. Obviously, I wanted to quickly... Oh, no, I get the biggest news story yet. I forgot to do all these things. The biggest news story that I want to cover right now is this. Have you seen this vehicle? This truck that's right next to my head? Right there. Have you seen this vehicle? Because police need your help to find it. Now... Anyone that doesn't know the trucking industry, this type of vehicle is typically used for RV transport or hotshot or flatbed. It looks like it's probably car hauling or RV transport because it's got a fifth wheel and not a gooseneck hitch on the back. But this truck, there's an article on my website right now. Apparently, the driver of this truck opened fire on 3 motorcyclists yesterday, killing 2 of them, injuring a third. It apparently happened in Rockingham, North Carolina. Police are asking anyone. It happened yesterday around 4:45 on the corners of, on the roadway of US 29th bypass by Barnes Street and North Carolina 14th intersections. As police arrived, they discovered a third motorcyclist was also injured. There's no anything really. It's really weird because on social media right now, usually you get more insight. A lot of people are just saying this vehicle is going to be able to be found pretty quickly. If you look at the actual zoomed in image, you can kind of make out that there is a company name written on the driver's side rear passenger door or the rear door. There's company names and likely DOT and all that information. So my guess is this isn't going to be that hard to find. But what I would ask all of you guys to do is when this video is over, find the article and share the article out on social media, because it's very important that we find these people that are killing bikers. And I know nothing. I don't know if it's club affiliated or what. I know nothing. I just think it's tragic that people riding their motorcycles have to be killed and left for dead in the middle of the street. So I think everyone should share it. Yeah. And then the next big thing, obviously, if you don't know, now you know, Citizen Stringer. If you're unfamiliar with what Citizen Stringer is, well, I've got some news for you. Citizen Stringer is going to be the rebrand of what we're doing here at PT News, and it's going to be amazing. There's more to it, and yesterday I kind of spent a little bit more time talking about it. So we're building an app, and it's not really an app, per se. It's a whole resource for your news. So it's going to house this show. It's going to house The Reckoning. It's going to house Freedom Flashpoint, additional podcasts as we own it. We're going to kind of crowdsource the way we write articles. So we're going to have more news available. All of our videos and all of our content is going to be available there, and that's awesome, right? And it's going to be free. I keep forgetting to say that, but that's crucial. But the best part about this, imagine if you take TikTok, Snapchat, Citizen app, and you combine them all into one incredible, work of art that just deals with the news and just news and commentary by you and videos that you take. we're also building that functionality into this app, and that's how we're able to monetize the platform. Because while you post the videos for free, if we bring that out to our marketing partners and they purchase that video of a newsworthy video, then you will be able to make up to 80%, depending on where you do. If you're doing this for a living, we'll you know, once you meet certain thresholds, we'll issue you press guidance. There's going to be jobs in there where if there's a school board meeting and people want to go see that school board meeting, we may say, well, we'll pay $200 for someone to go record that school board meeting. There's going to be all different things, and that's the best part too, is other news organizations can use this platform to go and get on the ground reporting of different incidences and everything as they happen in real time. Someone just said this kind of app has been tried before. It's actually never been tried. And because guess who knows? Because guess who has a provisional patent filed on the actual process of the whole thing? Nobody. Well, we do. But nobody else does yet. So, and the reason is because yes, there are segmented apps like TikTok or like Snapchat or like Citizen, but there's no app that kind of combines everything and then builds a marketplace in a community source news. And, you know, with me at the helm of it, we're going to be able to build it. Everything originally we had a shorter time pace, but it looks like based on the new developer that I talked to this morning and we have a meeting in 2 hours with, it looks like we may be able to get this thing up and running, you know, initially quite a bit sooner. So it's going to be something else. It's definitely by far the biggest undertaking we've ever taken here at PT News. You know, a lot of people are questioning whether or not, how much does it cost? It's not going to cost you anything ever. In fact, to be honest, what I'm probably going to do very soon is the PTNN site that's on there, still going to be there. But that's, as we roll that into the new functionality, that's also going to be free, and we'll cease all the memberships on there. So what I would encourage everyone to do, if you haven't already, there's going to be a link that's in your chat. There's a link that's in the description of this video. Please go find out a little bit about more of what we're building, and then back it. We have a crowd fund up right now, which allows you to get some perks. You can come party with us in the new office when we officially launch it, which we're estimating to be around September. There's all different things, like if you're super rich and you really want to back it, we do have Just the News advisory board that we're going to be creating, which is going to go through the fundamentals of everything, the podcasts, the news articles, the content that's on the app, to make sure that we are doing what we said and we don't lose focus, because it's not about getting rich. It's not about anything else. It's about breaking the way news is reported. And that's what, and it's not just going to be videos. Here's the best thing. There's going to be a rating tool on the videos. So say you have a story locally that you want to talk about and you want to get national exposure for it. You can do two things. One, you can mark something, you know, as a stringer video, which means that you are not going to be in it talking. You're just going to be there just showing what's on your screen. Everything will be watermarked. That video will go out and mark for sale, and then you get the percentage of whatever it sells for. And we market it. You don't have to worry about any of that. The second part is, say you're at a school board meeting, or you're at this place, or you're at a car accident, and you want to be the reporter. You make the video, you talk through it, you could be on camera if you want, and then that video will come up, and then it's available for everyone to peruse. I like that word. Everyone to look at, and we'll also use it as the big app if it's a nationwide story, and say one of the Citizen Stringers out in Houston, Texas was at this scene, and here's the breakdown of what happened. And we may even use it live, where on the desktop portion of it, we're actually building a map, kind of like if you look how Citizen and Snapchat has that map, and we use it a lot for news, but it basically will tell where the stories are breaking, and then you click on it and it opens it up. We're going to have something similar, so you could see, like, if there's an incident that's going on, we'll break it live in real time, you know, and it's or newsworthy story. And it's not going to be a place for stupid dances and all that crap like TikTok. It's strictly for news. Every video will have to be monitored and checked, but it's going to be something. So what I would like everyone to do, and I apologize for everyone that's already done this, or go do it again, but go to that link that's in the description of this video. I'm also sharing it again on all of the social media pages. If you want to back this, and we hope you do, please go to that page and back it right through the app. I think yesterday we did about $2,000. We started off 2 days ago, so it hasn't even been 48, and we're already at $3,800. We have a huge, ambitious goal of $200,000. I'm doing it regardless of whether or not we make the money. To be honest, I'm just trying to lessen the burden so my wife doesn't kill me. But we're doing this. My thing is, and like I said, if we get to the point right now where I can tell that the majority of the people from PTNN have already went and contributed, then I will wipe out, or even if the life members, if the majority of those guys say, hey, listen, let's, just do this one, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'll just make PTNN free immediately so it doesn't recharge any of you guys. Because anyway, the developer that we had on that app screwed it all up. So we're not even getting paid from Android ever. And we haven't. And apparently now it's fixed, but we've never gotten paid for it. And that's a lot of money every month. About 20 grand that we should have been paid that we never got. April said, yeah, we're also doing a giveaway as well where you can win 100. She's the one that created it. I don't even know. I think it's $100 of a gift card to our store by sharing out the link and all that stuff. But this is the truest way to community source the news. And, we found a way to do it. Now we just got to build it. The platform, like I said, I had a meeting with the developer this morning. I have another one at 2:30 with the design team. We are moving. Whether or not, we crowdsource all this money, it doesn't really matter because I'm doing it anyway. But it keeps me at the premise of being able to do it for free and not having to monetize the platform initially, because then I don't need to recoup all the money I'm spending, because then we're crowdsourcing it and building it together. And Jenny said it could be worldwide if people take it seriously enough. It could, and it should. And that's the whole reason why we worked with the patent and trademarked the name and all that stuff, because we wanted to make sure that this is scalable, and it does change things. We want to be able to report news for what it actually is and what it should be. If you think about it, if I can sit during 12:30 in the day and have 2,000 people watching across all social media and on PTN and all the apps and all that, everyone can do it. And that's something that could be done. Part of what we're also going to do is we're going to have a development team that if you want to host your own podcast or your own show, we'll work with you to do that. And if the show works and it's a good show, then we'll put that on the network as well. We're going to expand, and it's going to be a community source news station as a whole. I spent too long trying to polish up the shops and have everything look great and great cameras and studios and running 24/7 and all this stuff. And I lost the focus of what I did this for and why I started this whole thing. So for anyone that's just tuning in, you're going to see some things change probably after I get settled in Virginia next week. The PT News website is going to just switch over. It's just going to have different logos and a different domain, but they'll all still work. But that's going to be the Citizen Stringer side. And then PTNN is not going to change anyone. If you're still on the t-shirt plans, you're getting your t-shirts, nothing changes. If basically I'll set a goal. If we get to $20,000 on the Indiegogo fundraiser, then all the memberships that are on PTNN, they will just become free. So there's 3,000 or so of you guys. Because essentially, just like Adam says, we need 2,000 people to do 100 each in order to achieve this goal and build something amazing. And that's hope, and let's see if we can do it. Everyone keeps talking about the John Sullivan thing. I'll talk about it again, but you guys got to remember, we break news way quicker than anybody else. So when you guys are writing about John Sullivan having his bank account seized, which was reported this weekend by Reuters, which then made national news, I reported on that on the 12th. I wrote the article about it already, that they seized his bank account. I spoke to his lawyer who refused to give a comment. We already knew about all that stuff. The only thing that's changed has been he's been indicted on 2 more charges. I knew they seized his bank account on April 29th, and I know how he found out too, because he went to the bank to try to withdraw money, and then he wasn't able to do it. And then he found out they also seized his Venmo account. So I know a lot of people are super happy about that, but here's my thing. Who cares? They seized his money. It doesn't bring Ashley Babbitt back. It doesn't change the fact that he's at the Capitol. It doesn't change the fact that he's still not in jail. I saw other people that erroneously reported that John Sullivan was in jail. No, he's not. He's out without even having to post bail, while people that have cancer and are sick are sitting in jail for nonviolent offenses related to the same incident. John Sullivan was in there with a knife. He's charged with that now. He broke windows. He self-admitted on video. He threatened to burn the place down on video. All this stuff, and he's out without having to post any bail whatsoever. And yet you have people that are literally battling cancer sitting in 23-hour lockdowns in D.C. that didn't do anything violent. They just literally walked in through open doors. You had a whole FBI SWAT team the other day in New York. We wrote about it as well. That busted in at 5 o'clock in the morning on a guy that literally walked through the Capitol through an open door, didn't do anything, didn't in the complaint, it didn't allege that he did anything other than walk through the Capitol through the open door. Didn't say anything about assaulting police, didn't say anything about damaging anything inside. But they sent an FBI SWAT team with flashbangs to go into to get him. Tell me about that. This isn't about politics. Tell me about it isn't, and I'll even go a step further and say tell me it isn't about race. Because why is it that one violent person, John Sullivan, again, has connections to a Provo, Utah shooting, which he was arrested and charged with. He also was the guy that stood up in, September of 2000 in front of the White House, threatening to drag the president of the White House out. That made national news, too. He is out on bail. The only thing I could surmise is, one, he either has deep connections, with his dad's Pentagon connections, or could be racial based. Could be because he's a black guy. And maybe that's why they're not going at him as hard as they are everybody else. Yeah, he has charges. If you ask me, John Sullivan should be rotting in jail right now. He should be sitting behind bars and enduring the 23-hour lockdowns that everybody else is. There should be no reason why he's living out on his own and trolling people on TikTok and all the stuff that he's doing now. No reason. And that's my thing. But everyone always talks about, that he, that he's been arrested and it's all super great and all this stuff. But he hasn't been arrested. Yeah, his bank accounts were seized. It's murder money. It should be seized. It should be given to Ashley Babbitt's family. That and more. That's what should happen. Because he was right there. He coaxed those police officers to move. He was there on video doing it. That's why he captured the only murder footage there. And then he sold it. And he sold it to shithead news organizations like CNN and everybody else. So I have no sympathy for him getting, his stuff getting taken away. They should just directly cut a check right over to Ashley Babbitt's family, because that's footage that the husband had to watch on TV. That's how he found out his wife died. I mean, this stuff is nuts. But again, the more we talk about it, the more you highlight John Sullivan. I know I talk about him a lot, but the more you guys constantly write that in the streams and all that, you're just putting that kid up on a pedestal. Everyone should be tweeting at all these politicians. Why is he not in jail? Everyone screams justice, 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 and hold people accountable. How come this guy isn't in jail while other people are? That's my real question. If I got that answered, I swear, if FBI called me today and said, hey, listen, or the Department of Justice, because it's out of FBI's hand, if the Department of Justice called me today and said, listen, this is why he's not in jail, because he's a cooperating witness or something else. I can't even understand why he's not in jail. I have to say it has connections. He's got connections to the documentaries. He's got connections through the military. He's got connections through, big Hollywood lawyers that will not go named. He's got connections to everybody. And if that's the case, if someone's making a documentary, but they're not acting as press, and why isn't the other woman that was with him that day that kissed him inside the Capitol, how come she isn't in jail? She seemed like she's innocent, but she also lied to me when I interviewed her, so she's probably a liar too, and should, because here's the thing. I've talked to John Sullivan numerous times. I've talked to his family members, talked to his brother, talked to his dad. I firmly believe that John Sullivan is a moron and was influenced to do all this because it would have made a good documentary. That's my firm belief, and I think you need to, if you want to hold people accountable for who's actually responsible, you have to go after Jade Sanders. You have to go after all the other people, the executives and the producers on it. You got to go after everyone with the agent, his agent where you got a book deal. You have to go after all of those people because they're emboldening that activity. Until you don't do it, until you do that, you're never going to get support from anybody, really. You're just going to be a laughing stock. Anyway, again, but yeah. So what I'm saying here, again, in the link, I just put it again. If everybody does $100, 2,000 people, if everyone right now, we got 1,130 people watching right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, DLive. If every one of you go to that link that's there, the Indiegogo page, and were to do $100, we'd be surpassed half our goal. We'd be surpassed half our goal. We'd be able to do this and bring it to market quicker. And here's the thing. I'm going to do it regardless. So don't just say, well, he's going to do it anyway, so we're going to do it. We could do it a lot quicker if we're able to raise all the money. And because otherwise I'm just spending it, and then my wife has to approve every time I spend $1 and all that stuff, But that's it. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in to the Just the News. There's been a little bit more Just the News than Just the News. Tonight's show, no idea if I'm doing one yet. We are feverishly packing. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm moving to Virginia at the end of this week. Actually, I'm driving on Friday. My family's staying here, and then I'm coming back down next week to get them. But there's a whole pile of stuff that obviously we have to do. This setup here is going to be the last setup to go. But all the bookshelves and all the racks of tech equipment and all that crap, I got to start packing up and loading out. My wife's got something she's doing Thursday night, which she reminded me today. And I'm like, how are we loading this trailer on Thursday night if you're not going to be here? And she's like, well, we'll have to do it after that. And I'm like, this is bullshit, because she's just going to some dinner. And but again, she's got friends here, so she's got to go. But yeah, that's it. If you guys want to support this new venture, do it. Otherwise, just stay tuned for all the great content that we're going to be putting out. Again, the app is going to be free. It's not going to cost anything. All this on-demand stuff, you may have to register or pay like $1.99 one time just to get rid of all the people that troll the chats, because there is a chat functionality in the new app as well. And we don't want a bunch of people just joining and trolling the chats, because it's, moderation is a pain in the ass. But yeah, we're doing something big here. It's going to be amazing. Stay tuned. I may or may not do a show tonight. Otherwise, Freedom Flashpoint will be on at 8 o'clock on PTNN, and then The Reckoning will be on at 10 o'clock on PTNN, plus their associated social media pages. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you later.